my job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and just to bring it out. This is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Awesome Black Dad Show, where our goal is to educate, inspire, and encourage dads to become the best version of themselves. We back with another one, episode 10.
Yes,
we got a lot to talk about today. But before we get into it, I wanna give an awesome salute to a dad that lives near me in the neighborhood. His name is Tremaine. He's an awesome father of two. He stopped me the other day and was like, "Man, I see you guys. I see you back on. I see you got a co-host, man, and y'all doing y'all thing." And y'all bouncing off each other real well, man. And he was like, I appreciate, the things the conversations that you guys have. It's like you taking me back to therapy, making me be too introspective. And I'm like, man, that's what's up, man. That's basically what we want to do, man. So I appreciate the support and continuing to listen and continue being an awesome dad. Awesome salute, man.
Thanks for the love, brother. Salute.
So we back. It's I don't know, we're probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 4 days in. We're about 4 days into this 2020 presidential election, and we still are undecided, right? And for a number of reasons, man, I mean, I get it, but it's just, we live in a world of indecisive, undecided, split decisions, man.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy where we are in this world today, man.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, so many decisions. Really, I believe the decision's already made. They just trying to torture Trump right at this point.
Torture us.
Drag it out.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. The longer they drag it out, the more he just gonna be like, "Well, I'm suing. I'm suing. Oh, y'all not voting for me? I'm suing too."
I think he had about 7 million lawsuits right now.
Right.
And it's steadily going up. So
right. The question is who's paying for all of these lawsuits?
The taxpayers. Yeah.
Right. That's coming from our pockets.
Everybody who didn't vote for him, he gonna try to find out who didn't.
Yeah, man. So it's kind of it's crazy, man. Without 2020 has been insane already, right? With everything that's going on with COVID, it's just been really, really insane and hard to deal with. And then now we got to deal with what's going on with this election, man. And so I've been seeing stuff on social media and then kind of, doing research online. And I'm just seeing like the demographic of people that are now voting. It seems like there's a shift in terms of the decision making when it came to like specifically black men. And I'm still doing some research on that. But it looks like black men had voted a little bit for Trump. And I'm wondering, why is that? Why do you think that is, man?
I think Trump appeals to the more masculine side of a man. You know what I mean? He's abrasive. He's a little harsh. Well, a lot harsh.
Yeah.
Verbally.
Mm-hmm.
He appears to take control of things.
Right.
Verbally. So I think that's the part that, because he's like a no nonsense type of guy. Like he like a president that got elected that you used to see at the bar, drunk and being,
right,
outspoken.
Yeah.
So
he's definitely that, man. But you can see through that stuff to the point of like the guy at the bar. It's like, all right, man, you were fun for the jokes and laughter this evening, man. But when I wake up in the morning and talk to the wife about it, it's gonna be like, well, I met this crazy dude at the bar last night, just was lying.
Yeah, and then I actually believe that a lot of black men
Mhm.
kind of separate in their mind between the man and the president. What I mean by that is, as a man, he's totally, they probably believe he's totally off base.
Mhm.
The way he talks, the way he treats people.
Yeah.
But then you look at, the job.
Yeah.
You try to separate the job and say, okay, has he done the, because I heard this one dude saying he really hasn't done a bad job as a president when it comes to the work. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm just listening.
Right.
And his point was people are lashing out at him because of his demeanor, his candor, how he speaks to and about people, and not the work that he's done. So that's a perspective.
Yeah, so that's the other thing too, man. And I tell people, I've been having conversations with some family and friends about, like, when we talk about the work, right? And I think oftentimes people forget that the country is a huge machine. So the things that we see happening, like right now, immediately, was not necessarily enacted by the person that's sitting in the seat today, right? So to that point, like, the economy is not an engine you can turn around tomorrow, right? And so when you look at what's going on in the economy, sans COVID, we're not talking necessarily about COVID. That's something that was out of our control. But when a new president takes office, right, and the economy starts to rise or slope, you can't necessarily give that sitting president, the kudos for, like, or give him the bad for the economy going down, or the kudos for it going up. You have to realize that is now the actions of the person prior to them that was sitting in that seat coming to fruition. That's right. It lingers. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. So when people talk about what he has done and you look at how things have changed, they try to attribute what they see today to him, when it's not. A lot of that stuff was done by Obama. Like, a lot of the residual effects of that is what Obama put in place. And we're seeing now, we're just seeing the fruits of that labor now, but nobody wants to talk about that. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about the things that Trump may have signed or laws that, executive actions that he might have put in place and signed for. I'm just talking overall how people kind of put that in the box. And it's just strange, right? It's just, that's just life.
Yeah, especially when you got a guy who comes in and runs the country like a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you think from a business standpoint, if I was the predecessor of a certain business owner that I didn't like,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First thing I'm gonna try to do is get his name off of everything, where his name is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second, I'm going to basically clean house and bring all my peoples in.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to create departments, just like in any business. You got, any big business, you got different departments. You got different,
divisions,
factions that handle things.
Yeah.
And that's how he split the country. We're in factions. You know what I'm saying? We are in departments.
Yeah.
It's really split. And actually it's down the middle right now. You got your racial, still racially minded people. Because there are actually signs up. If you don't know this, southwest suburbs, south suburbs, there are signs up saying, kill niggas.
No, I ain't seen that. I ain't heard that neither.
And all these Trump, pro-Trump, slogans, I guess.
Right.
It's basically all racial, though.
Yeah.
It's not like, vote for Trump. It's like, if you didn't vote for Trump, you're a nigger loving, monkey loving, all this. Yeah.
Wait, this is rhetoric that you're hearing and seeing, or Is this things that
seen.
you're seeing this?
Yeah. Right now, Chicago South suburbs. And these are the actual suburbs that are pretty well off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that
the
they're
Orland Parks are the place. You know what I mean? The Tinley Parks and all that.
right.
Palos and all that. Yeah, man. So it's a lot that's going on that people don't see.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm surprised at that, but it resonates differently. Like once you're involved and you see it, and you just like, damn, we've come so far, but not far enough. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that feeling of that people still feel that way.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
What's that department? Something loss department. They do it in a lot of mortgage companies. But anyway,
yeah,
that's the enforcing department that Trump has. They wanna try to get out here and try to make their feelings known even better or more by posting these little coward, signs up. If you're gonna post it, stand by it. So when we drive by, we know who did it,
right?
And we can have a conversation.
Yeah. Well,
and they talking about grabbing guns. And, I haven't heard besides these militia groups, put out that they've been had guns, but
right.
I really don't think they're gonna pull it because.
Well, I hope that they don't pull it. Yeah.
Please.
But basically, Trump has put a battery in the back of people that really wouldn't have done the things or said the things that they're saying now, right? And so when you have the leader of the country making it okay for things to be done in the way that they're doing, so I'm all for the conversation, right? I understand that environment has a lot to do, and upbringing has a lot to do with the way that we think in general. I am not right in all of my thinking, right? But I'm definitely open enough to have meaningful conversations about our differences of opinion, right? And I think we can do that. Now, there are some things that I vehemently disagree with that may be a struggle to have a conversation with, particularly race, right? Because of the historical nature of it. But I do understand that there are people that were raised in an environment where they don't know anything else. They just don't, right? And if they can start with, if the person that puts that type of rhetoric on their lawn and put it out in front of their house, is also willing to kind of have a conversation about certain things. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm like, I don't know if I'm in the place to be like, oh yeah, let's sit down, let's have this conversation. But I can understand the openness because that's where it starts. That's effectively where change starts. You have to be able to have a hard conversation before you can move on to anything greater than that. But Trump just seems to be so hard to the right where people just like, oh, he's saying it, he's doing it. So let's get out here and say and do what we want. And we're not going to be open to having conversations. This is what's right. And this is how we're going to feel. And that's been, in large part, the struggle, right? This dude just he's basically, somebody said that he's basically just an entertainer, and that's how he's been able to do the things that he's been doing for so long. He really just doesn't care, right? And it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that people really can't see past that, man. And it's hard.
I think he's the epitome of a narcissist.
He definitely is that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely is that.
Every single bit of one.
Yep.
Like 1,000%. Yeah. It's his way of thinking. Anybody who disagrees is wrong.
Right.
And also get called names in the process while they're wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything he does and says is right in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if you're not agreeing, then you're an enemy. And you're going to get handled accordingly.
Right. Yeah, and it's crazy, man. It took the country to a tipping point, or we might be past that tipping point, right, where people are just reevaluating lifestyles, right? When you talk about your rights in the Constitution, and some people just the thought of maybe even owning a weapon to protect your home was different than it was today, right?
Yeah.
All because of this, right? Everybody had not everybody, but there are people who just decided, yeah, I don't need it. I'm going to go on the side. I'm going to err on the side of there's good in most people, and there's a very few slight people that that just are going to be not going to do what's right, man. But now it's again, with Trump putting the battery in the back of people that probably would have gone about they would have had their own thoughts and opinions and gone about their day and not necessarily address somebody that looks like me. They just feel different. So now it's all right, well, if you feel that way and we can't have a conversation, then I got to be ready for whatever you're ready to do.
I actually disagree.
Okay.
I don't think that these people were going to go about their way had they not heard Trump. I think Trump just awakened something up in them that was already there.
Yeah.
No matter how much they tried to suppress it. Because here's the thing. If you have black friends, quote unquote, you're a white person.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, well, I have black friends, so I'm not a racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you literally, the one black person that you call a friend, the other ones you call niggas. You know what I mean? So
right.
You try to justify you not being racist because I have two people that I don't call nigga to their face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But black people as a whole, I don't like them. Yeah. But these two I like. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's for years, if you've been suppressing that, and then you got, like you said, a president in front of you that says, say whatever you feel.
Right.
Act however you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Forget people's feelings. That resonates with certain people.
Yeah, it does.
That's what we've been seeing.
Yeah, that's absolutely what we have been seeing. And now we're on the cusp of, being rid of, that type of energy, right? And now I understand. So one of the other things when it comes to this election, that has been a struggle for me, and I have conversations with friends and people that I know. It's they would prefer, the people that prefer, and it's their choice, right? But the people that prefer not to vote for anyone because, they don't like either one of the candidates. My rebuttal to that is always, haven't you been in a situation where you've had to make the best decision from two bad decisions, right? And I stand there, I'm I don't necessarily, there's some things that I don't necessarily agree with when it comes to Biden, and I see that prick my side a little bit. But sometimes you have to choose a bad decision over the worst decision, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just a struggle for me, and it brings me to the thought, it's I wonder if the country is just in a place of decision fatigue. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. So my take on that, you can't be a coward. One of the types of peoples that I actually despise are, cowardice people. You don't remove yourself from the responsibility because you don't like the choices. Because to me, that says because you don't see it, because you don't agree with, how something is going, you just bow out and quit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In a fight, if we were in a fight, if me and you were walking and it's 10 skinheads over here, and then there's 20 militia guys over here with guns, these skinheads got bats, and we got two choices to make: go left or right.
Yeah, we can't go back. We can't go back.
We can't go back.
Yeah,
we can't stand still either.
Right, we can't stand still. Yeah,
because they both gonna come.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they coming our way. So it's all right. Well, let's choose. They both bad.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
right.
They both. We gonna get whooped one way or another.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think if we go into it with the mindset of kind of like a not a superior mindset, but a more of a positive, like we're gonna get out of these 10, we're knocking 8 out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're gonna grab whatever we need to grab and we're gonna fight. But my point is we have to make a decision. And the decision is forward, not backwards, not standing stagnant or being stagnant. Because that's a coward's way out.
Right. And it's interesting that you you align the indecision with cowardice. And I wonder if we pivot from like the decision as it pertains to choosing a president, right? To decisions in life, decisions in your family, decisions as a man, decisions as a father. Do you still align the indecision with cowardice?
Absolutely.
Is it that way across the board?
Absolutely. As a man,
Yeah.
I believe we have to make tough decisions.
Absolutely.
As a father, family man, whatever. Even as a woman, I don't want to act like
we're not alienating them. They're in the same situation, but specifically
as a human, as an adult human being. You know what I mean? And I am going to leave the kids out of this because they don't have the same responsibilities that we have. You know, back in college, we didn't have those responsibilities. We didn't have to wake up and pay no bills and decide which ones we gonna pay in what order. Which ones we gonna skip this month,
right?
Because we ain't got enough bread. So it's a lot.
Yeah. Lights off or phone off. Turn the phones off. I mean? Yeah,
exactly. We gotta make those tough decisions. And I think as an adult, me as a man, if I woke up one day and said, you know, it's just too many decisions, I'm just gonna not make one.
Right.
That gonna pan out to be worse, one of the worst decisions that I could make.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree, right? I do. And so to that point, right, I can't remember what CEO may have said this, but brought up the idea of decision fatigue, right? So where we are today, there are a ton of decisions that we have to make on a daily basis, right? And I'm talking from small to large, right? So even when you wake up in the morning, you have to make a decision as to whether or not, well, not whether or not, but what clothes you're going to wear. Am I going to wear this shirt? Wear these pants? What am I going to have for breakfast? What are the kids going to eat? Like all of those are decisions, right? They may seem small, but when you look at the end, if you look at the decisions that you've made within a day's period, right? That is a load on your mind that we don't necessarily pay attention to. And so the idea of decision fatigue is like, and if I could look up the definition of decision fatigue is in decision making and psychology, decision fatigue refers to the deteriorating quality of decisions made by an individual after a long session of decision making. It is now understood as one of the causes of irrational trade-offs in decision making, right? And I find that very, very interesting, right? When you start to think about all the things, when I think about myself, right, in terms of how I think and how my mind works, and I have to, I let things kind of fester and resonate, even the smallest things, and it's gotten slower, right? And so even when I find myself thinking about breakfast, and I'm thinking for 15 minutes, like, do I want oatmeal? Do I want cereal? Do I want an omelet? And so even in that decision fatigue, I've had to decide to, like, all right, well, I'm just going to eat oatmeal every day. Like, I got to remove some of those decisions, because what happens is that the longer it takes for me to make some of those decisions, by the time it gets to the middle or the end of the day where the bigger decisions have to be made, I'm burnt out. I can't. And in your words, I become a coward. Because it's like,
you know what? You know I'm a little harsh.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stand by my coward.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I like to say that the reason that we get in that place of deteriorating the quality of the decision making, as that definition put it, we don't plan. Put it like this. If you plan the night before, I'm doing this, that, and the other, like laid everything out. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, yo, if you plan out your day, the decision's already made.
Yeah, the decision's already made.
The problem is we don't plan.
Right.
You got to freaking eat breakfast the next day.
Right.
Decide then.
Yeah.
Decide at night. I'm going to wake up because of time, because I already know what I'm going to eat in the morning.
Yeah.
From the night before.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know what time I'm eating. I know how long it should take me because I got a schedule to keep to.
Right. Yeah.
Like straight up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't have time to eat a hot breakfast. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have to eat a granola bar.
Yeah.
And a banana on the way out the door. Mm-hmm. And a bottle of water.
Right.
That's breakfast. You know what I mean? But my point is, we don't plan correctly.
Yeah. No, so that's why that is absolutely a good point, because that is why when people wonder, if you're wondering why, like the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world wear the same T-shirt. Yeah. Right. And this whole minimalist ideal where it's just like, who cares? I don't like just wear the same shirt every day. It's one less decision that I have to make. And in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. We find ourselves, it does. We find ourselves resonating on the wrong things and not planning for the right things, to your point, right? And so I've learned, and I'm learning that as I grow, like just in my decision-making period for myself and for my family as well, because it can be frustrating when you start thinking about the people that are in your life and they can't see it. So decision fatigue is not something where people walk up to you and they look at your face and be like, you sleepy? You need some rest? Maybe you should go lay down. It's not something that people can see. And so when they ask you a question and it's like you're legitimately stuck because you cannot get to the next step to be able to make a decision, you have to start working out and planning out ways to first recognizing that, like, you're decision tired. Like, you just have to make some room for that and give yourself some rest. And then figuring out how you can remove some of that stress so that you can make better decisions. And so as I was looking too, it was like, I wonder what solutions people have come up with to like get rid of decision fatigue. So I found 9 ways to prevent decision fatigue. So I want to take a look at a couple of these. Hold on.
Hey.
So, to a princess, we're recording.
She don't care. Get on camera and do that.
Right. So
they can hear you.
So here's the 9 ways of to prevent decision fatigue for the listeners as well, because I know I'm not the only one that goes through these things for sure. 1, make your most important decisions in the morning. Your mind is the clearest during the morning hours because you're not worn out from the day's activities. 2, for less immediate decisions, choose the simpler option, right? Which is what we were just talking about in terms of the presidency. Like, all right, at this point, I got to make a decision. Which one is simple? For those decisions that are more immediate, taking the path of least resistance is probably the better choice. For daily decisions, 3 is for daily decisions, plan them the night before. To your point, right? Even better than waiting until the morning is to plan the most insignificant decisions the night before they will happen. What you gonna wear, what you gonna eat, you know what I mean? Where you gotta go in the morning.
Yep.
Number 4, don't make any decisions when you're hungry. I can definitely agree to that. We may have to talk to Lyndon about, if you listen to the last week's episode, people, then you'll understand what we're talking about when we talk about hungry. But
I'm gonna have to cross that one off.
Yeah. Number 4 is don't make any decisions when you're hungry. When you're hungry, your stomach produces a hormone called, I can't pronounce this word, ghrelin, which negatively impacts decision making. Number 5, limit and simplify your choices. If you are faced with too many decisions, narrow it down to 3 choices at a time. 6, go minimalist. Life can be lived more fully when small and unnecessary decisions have to be made. So sticking to the essentials for things that leaves you more room to focus on more important decisions. I absolutely agree. wear the same shirt every day. Number 7, aim for good enough instead of perfection. If you keep thinking everything has to be perfect, your perfectionism will turn into procrastination. I fall for that one every time. Number 8, do not make decisions in places that are full of distractions. Set aside specific parts of the day to tend to any distractions such as social media and email. And lastly, number 9, focus on making decisions for items on your to-do list only. If you put too much on your plate, it is likely to get in the way of accomplishing your main priorities. Once you understand how to overcome decision fatigue, you'll be able to take the necessary steps to stay consistent with your daily habits. And I absolutely agree with these 100%.
I mean, it's a couple on that I don't agree with.
Let's call them out. Which one? Which one you don't agree with?
Number 4,
Number 4,
7, number 8.
Okay, so number 4. Let's address that. Don't make any decisions when you're hungry. You disagree?
I don't know anything about grilling,
Right.
but since I do fast a lot, for me, it actually clears up a lot of clutter mentally, so I can make the best decisions. So if you're not focused on food, which when you start fasting, you actually don't focus on that you're hungry. You can exert your energy towards that decision making, even if it's something on the fly, because you don't have food to worry about at that point. You know you're not going to eat.
Right, but when you're fasting, right, aren't you in a situation where the fasting is, to your point, you're saying fasting gives you the ability to have more clarity. You're not necessarily making decisions during your fast. You are, but some of that has been planned out already, right? You don't have a choice necessarily. You've already planned out your day. But you're fasting for that clarity. So you aren't necessarily making decisions at that point. You're getting to a place, you're purifying yourself so that you can make more solid decisions, right?
Put it like this. If I'm fasting for a week, straight water, every day, like you already said, I'm making a whole bunch of decisions.
Right.
As a responsible adult. So making decisions while you're hungry, I just personally...
Sure.
I just don't agree. I think I make really good decisions because I'm mostly hungry all the time because I'm working and I forget to eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I go a whole day and I probably hit you up at 6, 7 or something.
Right.
And then I got to get off the phone. I'm like, man,
I gotta eat
nothing all day.
Yeah. And I'm sure this goes deeper too, right? I'm sure it gets into the thought of like what you're eating, right? So hungry isn't just going to satisfying that hunger and going to, the local greasy spoon and grabbing like that burger or whatever you want to eat. I'm sure it's you want to think through the food that really replenishes your energy, right? And putting the right things in your body. So I'm sure it gets into that. So when we get Lynn back on, man, we can definitely bring that up. What was the other one? I think you said 6 or 7?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Number 7. Aim for good enough instead of perfection.
Yeah, I totally disagree with that. I'm of the same school of thought of the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jacksons, the Muhammad Alis. We want perfect. You know what I mean? Right. Because if you aim for perfection, the worst you could do is fall at good enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But what is perfection though? So if we get into that, does perfection really exist? Who defines perfection?
Okay, so check this out. If I have a goal, this is perfection to me. If I have a goal to say, at the end of the year, I want to make this amount of money. The goal is to perfect whatever that is. So if it's $100,000, perfection means making 100,000. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's a goal. Aside from, it's like you're defining shooting for the stars, thinking big, not necessarily perfection, but your idea of what's the biggest goal that you can shoot for yourself, and that would
even the small decisions.
Right.
like in business daily, if I have a client and they're a first time home buyer,
Yeah.
I'm striving for perfection as far as the service I provide. I'm not trying to do good enough. It's enough agents out here that's doing good enough or even worse.
Right. But you definitely are comparing yourself to those other agents. You've determined what is not ideal, but I'll use the word perfection. I don't want to use it, but what perfection is for you in terms of your level of service for your clients, right?
Yeah, to me, perfection is just like 150% effort. So if you
Right. That isn't perfection though, right? That really, like, perfect means that there are no blemishes, no flaws. There is no anything else above that.
You, there's always going to be blemishes. There's always going to be flaws. So the perfection comes in at the results. You know what I mean? Put it like this. Michael Jordan was not perfect in the finals.
Right.
But he won a championship.
Yeah.
Perfection. He reached the goal.
He reached the goal. He reached the goal.
I play chess.
Right.
I don't make the right move every single time, but the goal is to win the game.
Right.
You're gonna make mistakes. So perfection is actually the results to me.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that definition of perfection, but I think the definition, if you Webster, right?
I don't care about Webster.
That's all I'm saying. As I'm saying, that level of perfection doesn't exist. You don't play a game of chess without making some level of mistakes, right? You don't get to a grandmaster and not make mistakes. Even grandmasters still play games and win games and become grandmasters, which I believe is the top level of chess players, right? Correct? Is grandmaster the top level of? You can get there, but without the definition of perfection.
Number 7 says aim for good enough. Any chess player is not aiming to be good enough.
That is fair.
They're trying to be the best.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Now I understand where you're coming from. Where you're shooting, don't aim for good enough, right? Set a goal, aim for that goal, but don't get.
Check this out.
Yeah,
I believe if you aim for good enough and miss, you become average.
That is where you're going to land. That is exactly where you're going to land. So
I think if you aim to be the best, the worst that you could be is
good enough.
One of the greats or good enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm not going to debate you on that anymore. It's just I think I made my point. Hopefully I made my point in terms of, like, I don't think perfection exists. I don't there are perfection goals that we set for ourselves, and we have to determine whether or not we're being unrealistic about the things that we may believe that we can do, right, or achieve, and things of that nature, right? If you're being unrealistic, so 100% agree, right? And then you said number 8: don't make decisions in places that are full of distractions.
Yeah, man. I have a lot of business meetings,
right?
And just freaking loud, like environments. It might be at a restaurant and there's music bumping.
Yeah.
And it's me and another person at the table, or me and a few people at the table. We literally doing business.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All this chaos.
Yeah.
I think it becomes a habit of focus that strengthens that focus. Because it's like, if we go back to, we don't even have to go to chess. We played basketball. We played in some harsh environments, away from home, where you got people screaming while you shoot free throws. You're running down the court, and the other team's people is yelling all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
and we like that. We loved that environment when we were younger.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to make fast decisions, quick decisions during all this chaos.
Yeah.
So it becomes second nature. It's like, because we get older, I never shied away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can make really good decisions because it's almost like, can you focus and this is life. Can you focus on this right here while all this chaos is going on?
Yeah, can you block it out?
Yeah.
Can you block? It's like, I don't know if you've seen the movie World War Z, right? Where in part of the movie, there's a virus going around and that turns people into zombies. And so as the people are turning into zombies, they're running and chasing other people in the scene, but then there's a kid kind of coming towards the camera, and the zombies aren't touching. They aren't touching that kid. They're going around him, right? And so it just shows, like visually, it shows that there's a block there. Now there's something going on with the kid where the zombies won't bother him. But I think the analogy is just to show visually, like if you're in an environment where there's total chaos, you have to figure out how to put that bubble around yourself so that you can make a solid decision. Because sometimes those, when you're making decisions, there isn't a pristine environment. Let's be clear about that. 90%, 95% of the decisions that you have to make when it comes to life, you have to make those decisions in a stressful environment, right? And so you have to, at the end of the day, the ability to make good decisions is a muscle. It's a skill. It's something that I believe you have to work on. The point here, though, as a part of this conversation is recognizing that you can only use that muscle for so long, right? So even when you talk about making decisions when you're hungry and you're solid in doing that, or making decisions in stressful environments, at some point you have to recognize that you have to give that muscle a break, or otherwise it's going to be fatigued. If you take the analogy of playing basketball, you can only play so many quarters of basketball before it's like, coach, look, yeah, I want to win this game too, man, but you got to give me a breather. Like, I need this breather. And so that's the point. Like, we get to a place, because you can live in decision fatigue for a very long time and not really recognize it, right? You just like, I really can't make a decision, don't know how, right? So it's recognizing that and giving yourself the space to grow and get away from the stresses of life and the pressures of life. That's why I think I'm trying to take up meditating a little bit, right? It's hard, but I think that helps too, right? If I was to add something to this list, it would be finding a space where you can clear your mind and figure out what decisions mean less and what decisions mean more. Right. Yeah,
I think it all goes back to planning, though.
Yeah.
Whether I go into an environment and I'm hungry and I got to make a big decision, or I got to go into an environment that's noisy and I've already planned my play before I go in there anyway. I'm not freestyling. You know what I mean? So if I know I got a business meeting or whatever kind of meeting, even if, you and I get together and say, hey, let's talk about this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I'm going in with a premeditated what I want to talk about.
Right.
And we're going to go from there. So it's more of a focus. It's more of if you go in and you know what point you want to hit, I think it makes it easier, whether you're hungry or whether it's noisy, because you're focused on those goals. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If we plan better, and I had to learn this over time, because, I grind hard. Right. Mm-hmm. At one point, I'll be grinding, and I literally have I won't say a mental breakdown. It's one of them. What you just call it? Decision fatigue on steroids.
Okay.
I ain't making no more decisions.
Right.
All day.
Yeah.
I'll give my mind a break.
Mm-hmm.
But what I failed to realize is I never plan rest.
Mm-hmm.
We don't plan rest. We don't plan breaks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't plan them, them NBA, I'm going to play this so many minutes and I'm resting in the beginning of the fourth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think if we could plan a little better, you have to plan that rest in there too.
Yeah. Agree 100%. I mean, we're talking about fatigue, right? Whether it's muscle fatigue, physical, mental, we're talking about fatigue. And I think at the end of the day, that really just aligns itself with finding the time or giving yourself the space to rest, so that you can make some decisions like, yo, I need a break. Like, I don't care what we eat tonight. It does not matter. I literally don't. Just want to be careful with the fact that it's like you can end up in that space for a very long time, like saying, I don't care what we eat. And then it's been a month and you've been eating pizza.
Yeah, it become a habit.
Right, yeah. And so, yeah, exactly. That is exactly the point, right? So in your moment of decision fatigue, you don't recognize that you've created a negative habit in your life that then results into you falling into that not even good enough category. It turns out that you're living an average or less than average life that you expected. It's not what you wanted, but you fall into that.
And I'll add. Let me add this. I want to say it correctly, so I don't offend nobody that we know. But I believe that if you don't get in the habit of making decisions, if you don't get in the habit of making good decisions, then certain decisions will be made for you. Like, we have a society where if you make a string of bad decisions, or even one big bad decision, somebody's going to be telling you when to wake up, when to eat, what to eat, when the lights go out. You know what I mean? How long you can talk to your family, if you can talk to your family. And social distancing is a must. You know what I mean? Between the thick glass, you become a slave one way or another.
Or you're not.
If you don't make good decisions. If you don't make good decisions in school coming up, then you're left with having to work for someone that you probably hate, doing something that you probably really hate. Just to, buy a bag of oodles and noodles. But you my bad, man.
No problem. So or buy a bag of oodles and noodles. No, you're absolutely right. You know what I mean? And I think that it's either that, right? And I think basically what you're alluding to is that that's prison, right? In one way or another, whether it's physical prison or in your mind prison, right? That's where you end up. Or even worse, you're no longer here for anybody to make decisions for you or for you to make decisions for yourself, right? I'm a firm believer in the idea that we are the sum total of the decisions, the small decisions that we make every day, right? And so the better we are at making small decisions to large decisions, the idea is not to make the correct decision each time, but it is to have some meaning and thought and to be deliberate behind the decisions that we're making and get better with the next one, right? So so what? You made a bad decision about what you ate yesterday. Don't repeat it.
Right.
Don't repeat it. If you made a bad decision about eating yesterday, just make the next 5 better decisions, right? You win, but we got to recognize that we have to be mindful of those things, and especially, man, because we have to be accountable and we're responsible as fathers and as men that are trying to raise good kids in this society, productive adults that'll wind up being productive adults in this society, and be and have a great family. Like, we have to make solid decisions, man.
Definitely. Shout out to our alma mater, Providence St. Mel.
Right.
Original leader, Paul J. Adams. Who made a lot of decisions for us.
Right.
I think one of those key was putting us in uniforms.
Right.
That actually simplified a lot.
That simplified a lot for us.
Trying to figure out what you're going to iron the night before.
Right.
Outfits. You don't want to repeat outfits. You want to be fresh and all that. But you ain't got enough wardrobe to not repeat.
Right. And you know what else? More importantly, what that helped, man, it helped shift the focus of the kids. Now, keep in mind, we still found ways to talk about people's attire.
We gonna ride them.
Right. We still were able to joke and kid with people in that way, but not in the way that we would before. Like, we weren't concerned about whether you were wearing back in the day Jabos, right? Because that was the thing. Right. If you had Jabos, then you were in. If you didn't, you weren't. And then if you're like, well, all of y'all,
slick.
Yeah, so if all of y'all wear the same khaki color, what you got to talk about now? What you got to worry about now, right? If they clean, nobody knows the difference. If you wore the same one pair of khaki pants every day, as long as they were clean, I wouldn't know the difference if you had 1 or 12.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it shifts your focus, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. So
if you listen to a part of the mission statement, we work, plan, build, dream.
Yeah.
In that order.
In that order.
Work, do the work, then plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't build without planning.
Yeah.
you just can't.
You can't. You can't.
Absolutely. Go try building something without planning what you're building.
Right.
Anybody out there, let me know how that work out.
Let me know how that work out. Build the smallest thing that you can think of without a plan.
Anything.
Yeah. Try to put it together. Actually, this is probably easy. Just go buy the smallest thing at IKEA, right? Take $20, go buy the smallest thing at IKEA, and throw away the instructions. And see how far you get. see how far you get without that plan. And so, we definitely got to get at a place where we're planning better in terms of adding that to the list. It's like, come up with a plan, man. Right, wrong, or indifferent. What is it that you plan on doing? And then...
Yeah, because plans you can always tweak.
Yep, you can always tweak it. You can always...
I remember I was reading an excerpt from... man, I'm drawing a blank this morning. Warren Buffett.
That's because you're hungry. You hungry? And
nah, I ain't hungry. I'm making real good decisions right now. I want to talk about some other stuff.
Right.
We'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
But Warren Buffett has this exercise where you write down 25 of the things that you want to achieve, that you want to see get done. Short term, long term, whatever. Right. And out of those 25, pick your top 5. Right. Mm-hmm. And he asked after that, so how you gonna get the rest of the 20 done? You know what I mean? So a lot of people was answering like, well, I'm gonna do the 5 this so many days of the week. And then when I have time, I'll work on one of the 20. Mm-hmm. And that way I can achieve the 25. Mm-hmm. And he was like, that's absolutely the wrong way. You know what I mean? Your top 5 is the top 5. Forget about the other 20. Focus on the top 5. Right. Period. Forget about the other 20. Mm-hmm. Make sure you hit each one of those 5s before you move on to any one of the other 20. And it showed me that you need a freaking plan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the people had plans. They said they was going to do it this way. Mm-hmm. He had a more effective plan. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it goes to the one of those points where it says simplify things.
Yep, simplify things.
You got 25 things you want to do in life. What's your top 5?
Right.
You know what I mean? Focus on those. Forget about the other 20 for now. Mm-hmm. Achieve those, hit those 5, then move to the next 5.
Yeah.
No, that's how you get it done.
That is how you get it done, man. I think that what happens a lot is that we don't think that far in the future, right? We don't, when you say, what are the 25 things you want to do in life? Not tomorrow.
That's a hard list.
In life, right? You think trying to figure out your top 10 rap albums of forever. Try to do top 10, and here's some homework for the listeners, right? Aside from taking the time and sitting back and thinking about whether or not you're in a place of decision fatigue and you have to take those 9 steps and apply them to your life so you can get better. It's one of the things that I definitely would encourage the listeners to do. But second, here's a little homework. And catch us on social media, send us an email, or put a comment on the website. Think about the top 10 things that you want to do in life from today. Let's forget about the past. Let's forget about the things that you didn't have an opportunity to achieve and you wanted to achieve by 25. I get it. We're past that point. New day. Clean the slate. Think about the top 10 things from today that you want to do in your life. I'd be interested to hear or see how many people can actually get. I'm doing the homework too because I'm thinking about it now. I don't know that I can get past 3 at this point, right?
Man.
And so
me and Princess took probably 45 minutes getting that list together.
So here's the thing with you and your wife. When you and your wife did you do individual lists and a group list, or did you just do a group list?
Individual list.
Just the individual list.
It was individual list. She did 25. I did 25. Some of those things were intertwined anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, 3 of my top 5 I had to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
And business.
Right. Yeah.
And vice versa. So
yeah, no, that's dope. I think that's some great homework, man. Because what's going to happen is if you when you step back and you look at that list, then you'll start trying to eat the old analogy where it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. It's like, okay,
one small bite at a time.
One small bite at a time. And so when you start looking at that list of things that you want to do, if you want to hit every state in the country before it's all said and done, okay, how do you do that? And then you start eating away at it. Oh man, it's gonna cost me maybe $200 each trip. How do I save $200? And you'll begin to make solid decisions where you can begin to start checking those things off. And it gets back to your point. And we come in full circle here. It start with a plan, right? When you're in a place of trying to make decisions and then what happens? Even to that point, when you simplify, it's going to simplify things for you. It's going to eliminate some of the decisions that mean less. It's going to be way easier for you to get away from, man, this is really the smallest things that you feel like is really hard to make. It's going to be like, well, it don't apply to my 10 things. So, hey, it's got to go.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It means nothing. It's not going to help me.
One thing we don't want y'all to do, y'all doing this exercise, is get in a place we don't want y'all to get in the place of saying, man, I'm not at where I thought I would
right.
be at
Right.
whatever age you are.
Yeah.
Don't start that pity party.
No, don't do
This is not for that. You know what I'm saying? Do not start. None of us are at where we want to be at. But the difference between us and decision fatigued people is we're still making decisions to move forward.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
so don't get sad because you're not at where you are. None of us are really.
Yeah. Well, and
we're striving.
And actually, I'll go a little further than that. Right. You probably are exactly where you're supposed to be. Right. You've made decisions to get there. Now you're at a point to where you have to make a different decision if you want to do something. That's all it is. It's not about where you are. It's about where you're going. Right. We're not talking about today. We're talking about tomorrow and the days after. And if you really are struggling with that, just Google the founder of KFC. Look up J.K. Rowling, right? Look up the people who hit the track later in life and found fulfillment and success for themselves, right? Not what other people may think is successful, but they found that for themselves, right? And that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're encouraging, right? We want you to find the best version of yourself, not the best version of me, not the best version of Real, but the best version of you. So you can wake up happy about where you are. Your kids can look at you and smile and say, my parents did this for me. My dad showed me this. And you're happy about those things. Let's be more deliberate about where we want to be tomorrow and all the days after, right?
Right.
And I think with that, we can begin to wrap this thing up, man. You know what I'm saying? So, once again, awesome episode, man. Appreciate you guys for joining. Please, please, please check us out. Share the episodes. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of your iHeartRadio, all of the podcast distribution sites. Check out the website at awesomeblackdads.com. Hit us up on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Awesome Black Dads. And we appreciate you listening. Thank you for joining.
Y'all have a good one. Be safe out there.
Be safe. Peace.
Peace.